Melissa Megan Show continues. Carney to Tyrell.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Meg Show, episode 7, week 7. We've got a lot to kind of get through today. We have another exciting guest for you coming on the podcast. So let's just kind of jump right into it. We'll talk about our game recaps from last week. One of the first games that we were watching was Pitt versus Virginia Tech, which was the game that you would probably expect it to be. Virginia Tech ended up coming out on top 13-9, but the game was tied really close up until the end of the third quarter. It was 9-9 going into the fourth. Fourth quarter came around. Pitt couldn't really put the game together on offense. Turnovers. Virginia Tech was able to pull away. They scored 5 straight to finish the game. Some important players for Virginia Tech. Olivia Vergano from Virginia Tech, obviously. She had 4 goals on the day and has just been a consistent leader on the Virginia Tech offense since she really stepped onto campus. And each year she kind of really proves her leadership out there on the field. Kayla Downey, she is a transfer to Virginia Tech this year, also has stepped into a big role for this offense. She finished off the game with a goal and 4 assists. And also, Lauren Render and Paige Tyson had 4 goals each. So big numbers for these 4 ladies. So that was a huge day for them. Something that was an interesting note that I saw was that Pitt actually outshot Virginia Tech 40-19. And when you see numbers like that, it's you're kind of curious more so of how the game went. However, the Virginia Tech goalie, Jocelyn Torres, had a day, finishing off the game with 13 saves. With that, this goalie also has been playing really well all season, just to shout that out to her. Good job, Jocelyn. Virginia Tech had 23 turnovers. Pitt dominated the ground ball game. Virginia Tech won the draw circle. So it was very even up and down that way. For Pitt's leaders, we had Jenna Hendrickson. She had 3 goals. And then Cameron O'Donnell, who has been another huge factor for Pitt's offense, finished off the day with 2 goals. So Pitt couldn't really pull off the win, but overall, that was definitely the game that we expected to see.
Awesome. Next game we had on our radar was Virginia versus Cuse. Obviously, Cuse came out with a big win, thriller, 15-14. They really needed that win, another top 10 for them, and at UVA, which is awesome. Good road win, ACC win. They ended up winning 15-14. Very, very even game. If you're watching the game or checking the stats, obviously it could have gone either way. You know, it was back and forth. One team was scoring, the next team was scoring, and just kept going. It honestly felt like if you're watching, who's going to end up with the ball last, like last possession's going to win, or who's going to score the most goals. But Maddie Baxter herself, she had an amazing game. She put up 5 goals on 7 shots. It's an awesome shooting percentage, awesome day for her. Katie Carnevale from UVA also had 5 goals to try and put the Hoos over the Orange. Unfortunately, unable to. But both teams had more than 6 different goal scorers. Very balanced on offense. Being able to have 6 different girls scoring is awesome. Everyone's a threat out there, so it makes it really hard on the defense to pick who to slide to, pick the matchups. So that was great for both the teams to have so much threat on offense. And then, like I said earlier, it was very back and forth. You know, it was up and down, making a stop, making a goal, getting another save, making another goal. You know, it was back and forth. So each team needed those possessions very, very badly. Each possession was very crucial, and they needed to score on those possessions to keep up with the other team and not fall too far behind. But yeah, Cuse ended up winning the fourth quarter 3-1 with a huge play by Emma Tyrell. She got a nice little cause turnover in the ride, gained possession back in the last 2 minutes. So that was very crucial to get the stop there and end the game with the ball. Just in general, that is a great game to watch, great ACC matchup. If you missed it, obviously great to watch these games live. But if you did miss it, that's a great one to go back and watch, learn from it, whether you're new to the game or experienced. But yeah, there's a lot of great lacrosse going on in that big ACC matchup.
So true, Meg. Good job, Cuse. With last week's rankings, we had number 21 Harvard versus number 15 Penn. I expected this game to be a little bit closer, I think. It ended up being Penn won and really handled Harvard 18-8. From the get-go, Penn started off with a goal quick, but was quickly followed by Harvard putting up 2 within like the first 4 minutes. From there, Penn just kind of went on a tear. They scored 6 straight goals, and something that was really cool that we also mentioned earlier was both teams kind of showed a well-rounded offense out there. They had more than 5 players scoring at least a goal for each team. On Penn, and Anna Brandt put up 5 goals, which is a big day for her, and 3 other players had hat tricks as well. Catherine Berkeley, Nikki Miles, Keely Block, huge day for them. And then for Harvard, Riley Campbell and Maddie Barkate really led the way with 2 goals. In the end, it kind of just looked like Harvard couldn't keep up with Penn's dominant offense that day, which, for offenses, you're going to go through, well, you want to stay consistent, obviously. You want to continue to put up points. You want to keep kind of an even keel of how many goals you're putting up per game. So for Penn, this is a really, really good showing for them, having that balanced offense, being able to have multiple people scoring multiple times. So for Harvard, just wasn't really their day. Penn also did dominate the draw circle, and they put up 37 shots, and 30 of them were on net. So that's a really, really good day for Penn. But also, we can't really discredit Harvard's goalie, Chloe Provenzano. She had 12 saves on the day. So even though the outcome wasn't really what Harvard was looking for, Penn had a great day. That was an awesome Ivy matchup.
Yeah, what a great Ivy matchup. Both of them were fighting in that game. And yeah, that Harvard goalie, Chloe, had an amazing day. Unfortunately, they just came out on the wrong side. But the next game we had after that was Xavier versus Butler. Butler won very comfortably, 16-10. Meg and I were both wrong in our pick for that one. I don't know. Pick correctly next time.
Gotta own it.
But yeah, Butler had 5 different players with multiple goals. Lucy Sellender leading the way with 4. Butler came out with a huge first quarter, 6 straight goals, putting up 9 goals compared to Xavier's 1 goal quarter. And then obviously that's going to make it really difficult to come back from. You're sort of going to be chipping away the entire game. Xavier's Lola, I'm going to mess that up, Mancuso had 5 goals in the game to try and bring the team closer to Butler's dominating lead. First quarter was a winning factor for Butler, and also Butler's goalie Caroline Smith having 15 saves. We just mentioned Harvard's goalie having 12. Butler's goalie Caroline had 15. Huge day for her. But yeah, overall seems like to be a great week for the goalies. I'd love to be a goalie. So that last week, they're all having amazing games.
I thought you meant in general you'd want to be a goalie. I was like, that is a crazy statement.
Nope.
I'm okay not getting a ball thrown at me.
I don't know how they do it.
Me neither. And then that last game that we were looking at was Villanova Georgetown. We were also wrong with this pick too, but good for Georgetown. Ended up beating Villanova 8-6.
Surprised.
Yeah, this was a big East matchup, and it was definitely one to watch for that conference. A lot of the goals were unassisted, so it was a really big dodging day. For Georgetown, Gracie Driggs, she had 4 goals to lead the team, where Villanova was led by Ashley Hickey with 2 goals. Kind of a low-scoring game, and as we've talked about it before, when you have a low-scoring game, each possession really, really does matter because every time you have the ball, you kind of have to score, where it becomes more of a defensive game. Georgetown, in this case, was really able to hold Villanova scoreless in that second quarter, and when it came down to it, yes, it's really kind of hard to put blame on like certain plays, but going scoreless for a quarter, that was probably the game breaker for Villanova. Also, Villanova had 21 turnovers. So more than 20 turnovers, that's not really the easiest thing as well. But they did have a good draw game, winning 13 draw controls. So how I mentioned before that this game was a big dodging game. So if you're interested to see some really good dodges or how to get into the 8, tune into this game or watch it back, look at the highlights. There's a lot of free positions for both teams. And they didn't really execute that well on them, but I just thought the number of them was interesting, where Georgetown had 10 free positions and they scored 5. So that's not bad. They went 50%. Villanova had 9, but they only scored 2. So kind of evening out those numbers, practicing it, getting really good at it, and know that shot when you're stepping up to the line. It'll help increase your game and could be kind of game-changing plays.
For sure. If you also need to learn how to dodge and get into the 8, just watch Meg Tyrell's highlights. Or Georgetown Villanova, either great options. Another game that actually just happened behind us was Northwestern versus UNC. So great Monday night, start the week off with a great matchup. Northwestern did come out on top. I believe I saw behind me it was 15-10, I think, at the final, or 16-10. Anyways, pretty good game for UNC to sort of hang with them. Not too bad of a blowout there, but Northwestern did come out on top as we would expect. Another great game, speaking of Northwestern, can't always expect them to come out on top, I guess. Penn State pulling a huge upset against Northwestern. Kristen O'Neill put some respect on her name. She scored the game-winning goal off a free position shot. She had 6 goals, including the game-winning goal. So, huge day for her, huge upset, and Northwestern took an L.
Yeah, I mean, in conference play, Penn State was coming in. They needed a big win.
Yeah.
They had to make a statement. And unfortunately for Northwestern, that was that game for Penn State. And Kristen O'Neill, she is someone who has been on she's been on everyone's scouting report if you play Penn State. She is a fantastic player. She's a dominant shooter. She's a really good dodger. She can feed. Definitely a triple threat out there on the field. So I really couldn't be happy for her. That's such a huge game. And to put up those numbers against, a really strong Northwestern team like that, that's a lot of skill, a lot of talent, a lot of heart. So congrats to Penn State, and also congrats to Northwestern for big win today.
And that gets us into the rankings. Meg, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I understand Michigan at number 2 right now. They're 11-0. They're having a really good season. I do understand it. I'm still a little bit hesitant about Maryland being at number 1. Maybe I'm seeing things differently, but I don't know if that's a number 1 team right now. Maybe as the season gets further and they keep growing, but I don't see that currently. And I also think that Loyola needs to be respected a little bit more.
I agree.
They're currently 9-0. They're still undefeated, and currently they've been ranked around that 7 mark. They're behind Cuse, BC, Northwestern, Michigan, Maryland.
Virginia.
I can see them being up a little bit higher. And also, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but they have a really good matchup or opportunity this week to definitely make a statement. But yeah, so I agree with the rest of the rankings though. They make sense to me. Unfortunately, we're seeing North Carolina kind of drop down in those rankings a little bit, but still a lot of season left here. And then we also see Fairfield, if you're looking on the IL women rankings. Fairfield joining the top 25, sitting comfortably at 25 right now.
We have Fairfield at 19 on US Lacrosse Magazine. Interesting. They need to just have a little powwow and get together on these rankings.
That would be so difficult, probably.
I mean, I feel like this season as a whole, the rankings have got to be so tough. Like every week they're flip-flopping who goes where. Like, I don't know,
There's upsets left and right that are from like grander scale. So like, I guess if you look at Penn State was just ranked like 29 or something, beating the number 1, number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, now
that's such a huge gap, So how do you even decide, really?
Yeah, I do agree. Loyola is getting a little disrespected right now. They're having a great season. I'm excited to watch them play Syracuse, not to be biased. I think that's going to be, I just generally think that will be a great matchup.
Agreed.
But yeah.
Agreed.
Interesting rankings. Guess we can only just see how the games go.
And that we will. And from there, that leads us to the games that we are looking forward to this week. Buckle up, everybody. We've got another fantastic week of games, and it's already started. You're going to see this after this UNC Northwestern game. So that's included. We just talked about it a little bit. But looking forward or looking ahead to when you will see this, on Wednesday, we've got a couple of some pretty good games lined up. We've got St. Joe's versus Navy at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. A little bit earlier in the day for a midweek game. I can't even begin to describe how the game times frustrate me. But if you have the opportunity to tune in, I think most schools are done at like 2. So maybe tune in a little bit late, or if you're a little bit younger, maybe 3. And then also Cuse Loyola plays 4 p.m. on Wednesday. That is a game that you should watch. I think it's going to be intense, aggressive, and the past couple of times that Cuse has lined up with Loyola, it's been pretty good matchups.
Is that home or away?
That is at Syracuse.
Let's go. That's
In the
good.
Dome, so we'll have some good if you're not going, if you watch it on the TV, it'll look good. So
Get a
definitely
good
tune into that
broadcast.
one if you have the opportunity. Then we've got Maryland playing Penn at 6 p.m. Penn is on the up and up, and I think that this game could surprise people. I think people might assume Maryland will win, but I think that it could be a good matchup. That is a personal opinion, though, but I do feel that. Thursday, we've got Towson Jacksonville. I think that'll be a good game. They play at 4 p.m. And then we look ahead to the weekend. We've got Vermont playing Binghamton early Saturday morning, 11 a.m. game. LIU plays Lemoyne. I think that'll be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a fun game to watch. They're also at 11 on Saturday. BC, UNC,
Ooh.
a classic ACC matchup for your Saturday afternoon, right at 12 p.m. So make sure you are ready for that one. We've got Villanova, Butler at 12 p.m. We just talked about both these teams. They're also on Saturday. Just talked about both these teams. Butler's coming off a great win. Villanova needs a win, so this will be a game to watch as well. Clemson, Virginia Tech, that'll be a good matchup. Clemson's really not surprising me, but they are really kind of stepping into themselves almost, it feels like. They had a really good matchup this week against Notre Dame, and ended up being a 1-goal game. And who else but MK Doherty, who has scored 3 game-winning goals.
Whoever
Absolutely.
plays them next needs to match up on him.
If you are playing them and you go into overtime or it's a 1-goal game, you better face guard that girl because she's on fire. So, yeah, no. But anyways, Clemson will be playing Virginia Tech 12 p.m. on Saturday. And just a little shout out to our Syracuse girls. They have their senior day this Saturday, 12 p.m., where Cuse plays Louisville. And Louisville's also having a good season as well. I think they actually just beat Clemson, which
Yeah.
was a good matchup there as well. So happy senior day to those girls. Proud of you. Looking ahead, we've got Michigan, Maryland, Big Ten matchup, 12:30 on Saturday. All these games are at the same time, and it's so frustrating. Have multiple screens lined up, watch it all, see it all.
You need 10 TVs if you're watching.
If you watch lacrosse, you need 10 TVs to watch all of the games. We've got Yale Brown, an Ivy matchup here, 1 p.m. I think that'll be a really good game too. Conference play, 2 teams that are playing really well right now, so that'll be an exciting lineup. Albany Bryant, 1 p.m. on Saturday, and then Hopkins JMU, 5 p.m. on Saturday. So lots of good lacrosse. Agreed. Lots of good lacrosse to look into. So make sure you've got your screens ready.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited. We got a full slate of awesome matchups this week. Great games to learn from, just watch and enjoy. But however, that brings us to our next little segment, the questions from you guys.
Questions.
So, today's question, college athletics is so physically demanding on your body. What were your favorite ways to recover / most helpful ways to recover?
Do you want me to start? I can go.
Sure,
So
let's hear it.
for me, so I think recovery is different for everybody. I think things affect people differently. Actually, I know that it does because some people live and die by ice baths, and I'm not an ice bath girl, and it's not because it's cold. It's because
Really?
yeah, because here's what happens. I will take an ice bath and I'll feel great. And then a day later, my legs feel like bricks, and I don't know. It's like, you know what I mean when your legs are heavy and you feel like you can't pick them up and move. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
I
Who else
thought
am I
that was like a
talking to?
rhetorical question. Our listeners. Yes, I know that feeling.
Yeah, so for me, when I would do ice baths that next day, so if we ice bath before a game, I would be like, I'm not going to do that because I need to run tomorrow. So for me, that really didn't work. I do enjoy the cold though, but the ice baths, they just didn't really work for me. I liked cupping. I was big on cupping. I actually have my own cupping set at home now, which is a bit extreme, but I love it. So I will live and die by cupping, and if you haven't done it before, you should. Um, but that's how I really like to recover. I don't really, that was my favorite, or like a stim machine.
I
Feels,
hate that.
no, it feels fantastic.
Oh, I hate that. I have like the worst memories and experiences with that. Oh, that I don't like that. I would say my favorite. I don't know. I like the boots are nice, the Normatec boots, because like you just sit there and they feel good.
Normatec's nice.
But I don't really feel any different from them. Like afterwards, I don't notice any difference. Ice bath, I love. What is hard though is when you are so at Syracuse in the winter, it gets very, very cold there. And our practice facility is like not connected to our locker room and our training room. It's like a separate facility. It's not far. You can walk there. We walk from locker room to our practice facility, or you just come out of the locker room, get in your car, and drive over. It's literally a 1-minute drive or a 2-minute walk. But I would practice in a full sweatsuit. So then at the end of practice, I'm hot and sweaty. The idea of an ice bath sounds amazing. And then I walk from the practice facility to our locker room and the training room, and I'm freezing cold. And then the last thing I want to do is get in a cold ice bath. So that made it a little bit tricky. But I would say that was my go-to, doing an ice bath or the contrast where you go hot, cold, or cold, hot. That one sort of helps you not feel like bricks, so maybe.
Oh, the contrast?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the hot tub was so nice as well.
Yeah. I would sometimes just sit in the hot tub and like swim in there.
That's
Like
insane.
I would. Not like swim, but like I would
That's
just chill in
insane.
there. But other types of recovery. Cupping I would do on my back if necessary.
What about magic hands?
Uh,
For those that don't know, it'd be like an electric thing, and it would just be a current through your trainer's hand. I enjoyed that actually.
yeah,
but
you did that a lot.
I was always with that machine. Me and Kat, one and the same.
What I would do is the laser thing in the back room
Oh yeah,
where you put the glasses on, Cat does the laser. I like that one.
yeah.
That was good. But yeah, for my like when I was recovering from ACL, I think I mainly just like I don't know, foam rolled, but I wouldn't truly foam roll, so I can't really say that. I would do it for like 3 minutes and say I did a good job. Probably ice bath. That's like my go-to. I
Yeah,
would
but
love.
I think everyone recovers differently though,
Yeah.
and it's important to keep that in mind because you know your body.
I really want one of those at home ice bath things. Like obviously that's not fitting in my apartment right now, but you know how they have you
Or
probably
like an
know it.
ice tub.
Yeah, but it's like the real deal. It's like a tub, so it's long and it's like wooden,
Is it
whatever.
white? Oh, it's wood.
Well, the nice ones are. Like I would love to have one of those at home and just ice bath every morning.
That's good for your central nervous system
I would love that. So
and your heart.
anyone wants to donate one to me, that would be great. I'll just set it in our living room.
Oh
Yeah.
goodness. And then another question that we got was about a former player who is looking to get back into the sport in some way. So when you finish playing and, maybe you get to a point where you do miss playing and you want to get back into it. There's, like you mentioned in this question, there's like an earlier segment, there are local leagues you can join. One of our friends played in one last year up in Boston. There's one in New York City. And I think getting back into it, it's almost like riding a bike. So if you maybe haven't picked up your stick in, let's say, like 3 years or something, maybe it'll take you like a couple games to kind of get back into it, but you already know how to do it. It's like all that muscle memory, which I actually was told isn't real, but that's a whole different section. But your body's going to remember how to do things. I don't think there should be a fear behind getting back into it. And also, you're playing because you enjoy it, you're passionate about it, and you want to have fun. And there's a group of people that also want to enjoy it with you. So I would say, as far as jumping back into a league, you just kind of got to do it. and just make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. It shouldn't feel like a stressful thing. It should be something that you look forward to going to, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly.
Okay. So another way to get back into lacrosse, because not everyone has a local league near them. I can testify to that. But one way to get back into it is maybe coaching for a local high school team, middle school, club team, giving lessons if that's something that you feel you could do. But those are just a few ways to sort of get back into it. But it is tough with the sport of lacrosse. To sort of stay engaged with it. You could watch lacrosse, but that doesn't really obviously fulfill the same way. But those are just a few ideas.
Yeah, it's always cool to stay involved and continue to grow with the game because it's a really exciting time for lacrosse. And if you miss it, find a way to hop back into it. There's opportunities around whether you're playing or coaching. So I really like that question. However, it's about that time. We have another special guest this week. So pumped to have her on. Her journey has looked a little bit different than other student athletes that we've known or we've spoke to. So I think this will be a really interesting segment for you guys, and we're really excited to bring her on. So let's
Bring her
let's
in.
bring her in. Hey guys, welcome to the Meg Show. We have another special guest with us. This week we have Madison Doucette, current graduate student at Johns Hopkins University, who has been causing problems for opposing offenses. Meg and I know very well how annoying it is to shoot against this fine lady here. So some background for her. Her journey has kind of looked a little bit different compared to other student athletes' careers, and we will talk about that a little bit later on. For her undergraduate, she played at Northwestern, who's having a fantastic season this year. She was a starter there and ended up ranking second in the Big Ten in saves, and also helped lead the Wildcats to the 2021 and 2022 Final Fours. During her time there, she was named IWLCA and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. She also has played with Meg on Team USA in 2019 when they went to their U19 World Championships and won a gold medal, and was also a member of the 2022 Sixes World Games where we won a silver medal. Had the opportunity to play with her. Playing with her is a lot more fun than playing against her. For her graduate year, she has decided to trade her purple for Bluejay blue. She's currently the starting goalie for Johns Hopkins and is helping lead a really talented, really hot team right now for Hopkins to a very successful season. So Madison, thank you so much for joining us, and congrats on the win against Ohio State the other day. That was a big win. Well, you guys kind of crushed them, but big win.
Hey, it's always fun in conference. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Well, Meg, that was a very great intro. Couldn't have said it better myself. I have had the pleasure to play with Madison and against Madison, and like Meg said, I'd rather play with her than against her. So we'll just leave it at that and we'll get started. But first, to kick this off, Madison's goalie. What is the mindset like as a goalie? It's very different than other positions on the field. How do you stay present, avoid getting in your head? Do you struggle with self-doubt, confidence, whatever it is? What is your trick?
Yeah, I think any goalie's lying if they say they're always perfect, they're always confident. It comes with time, and in the sixth year chronologically, fifth playing wise, I've learned a lot. Super helpful. I think for me, it's all about having the right energy level coming in. Like I can't be at that 9-10. I can't sit there. I'm gonna freak out. I can't stare at the little yellow ball for that long. So I know I need to come in a little more chill, have fun, realize that as a goalie, even fewer things are controllable than as a field player. Like if you're shooting and you're having a bad day, you can feed. If I'm not seeing the ball, I'm not seeing the ball. So you kind of have to go in with that mindset, knowing it might not always be perfect, but pick up that ground ball, make that perfect clear, and just kind of chip away to build back to a good game.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's all great advice, especially for the younger goalies, just not having that perfect mindset expectation. It is good to want to strive for that, but it's going to hurt yourself if you're not realistic about it. What is one training technique that you think has helped your game the most?
Ooh, there's so many there. For me, it's about knowing what I need to see and not trying to do too much. I think Meg and I have already joked about it before we got recording. Year 6, the body's tired, so you can't just go out to the field and see every single shot over and over again and drill it. So for me, it's been about recognizing what I need to work on, drilling that for the period of time I can, and then being okay with what I saw and knowing that that alone can help me move forward and progress.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So we just talked about, that fifth year or sixth year chronologically. So for you, for recovery, when you're, after practice, post game, what is a recovery technique or session that you like to do to make sure your body's all right for the next game?
I'm a big Normatec girl, so compression boots for sure, huge fan. Recovery leggings when I get home, and basically living in the training room every other hour of the day has been pretty effective thus far.
Yeah, seems to be the common theme between Meg and I, the guests we've had on. We're spending a lot of time in the training room.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the athletic trainers definitely get to know various athletes very well because we're always in the training room with other sports like soccer, field hockey, stuff like that. To kind of switch the pace a little bit. So for those of you who might not know, so when Madison was at Northwestern, she finished out her undergrad and then took a gap year in between playing now at Johns Hopkins. So that kind of looks a little bit different compared to like what you know or what you've seen. So for you, Madison, taking that year off and then stepping back in, if you guys haven't watched anything from her, go watch some Northwestern film, go watch some Hopkins film from this year. She has stepped back into a role as if she never took any time off. And that is an extremely difficult thing to do, especially at such a high level. So for you, like with your time off, what did that kind of look like? Were you still playing lacrosse? Were you kind of just taking some time for you? If you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, I kind of went into that year knowing I needed a reset, not knowing if I was going to go back or not, knowing that I didn't want to be done in lacrosse, but I didn't know what the next step looked like. And I was fortunate enough to be around the Jacksonville women's lacrosse team frequently. I was down in Jax, so I was at all their games. I was shooting around with other players occasionally. I just got lucky that I was affiliated with such a program in any regard. And so I saw shots sporadically, but not to the same degree. I gave my body time to heal, watched a pretty good amount of lacrosse, and then kind of got to pick it back up actually about just a year ago, heading to Japan with the PLL and Unleashed Women. And so I kind of got fired up for that, getting back into it, seeing more and more shots, and then the summer it kind of just unfolded from there.
Gotcha. So, something that we forgot to include, talk to us a little bit about going to Japan, the PLL. They're there right now. So this is the second time they're there. What was that like last year when you went?
It was one of the coolest experiences of all time. I got a random text from Lizzie Colson. I was coaching ice hockey, got off the ice, and I had a text like, "Hey, do you want to go to Japan in like 3 weeks?" And I was like, sure. So made it all happen. My boss was like, "You're crazy if you don't go." And I was like, "Thank you, Katie. I agree." So got the time off work, hopped on a flight, and just had some crazy experiences in terms of just seeing the growth of the game. Japan's investing so much time-wise, financially into the sport, coaching these kids, playing against their women's team, watching their men's team play. Just a beautiful country, super cool culture, and some really good lacrosse players.
Wow, that is so cool. I always like watch their stories or whatever, and it looks like the best experience ever.
I do have a little FOMO this time around. Very happy to be back in collegiate lacrosse. But those of us like Kayla Wood, and I have joked about how we're kind of bummed to be on the outside this year because of our collegiate seasons.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about Japan? Like, what was your favorite activity that you did? I guess maybe besides lacrosse, or you can actually, let's do both. So for lacrosse, what was like the favorite thing that you got to do besides maybe like playing the actual game? Or like, what did you see that you thought was really interesting?
Yeah, lacrosse wise, we got to go to an elementary school and teach English and play some lacrosse, and just the energy was awesome. One of the funniest moments I've ever seen was one of the men's players, I believe it was Jerry, giving Paul Rabel a piggyback ride all the way around the gymnasium while all these kids are dying laughing. He's talking about the physicality of lacrosse. It was an absurd moment. It was awesome. And then I think outside of lacrosse, we had some amazing days, but there was the last day, 6 of us ended up like in a tattoo shop getting tattoos and eating gyoza like on a whim. And I was like sitting there being like, this is one of those memories. Like, you never know when you're in the good times, but like that was one I was like, I'm going to remember this forever. Like, I'm lucky enough to have kids. They'll hear this story. Like, that's going to be a cool memory.
That is so
awesome.
funny. Can I ask
that
what you guys
so
got?
awesome. Yeah.
A whole range.
You can also cut it if you want.
Yeah, no, everyone got a variation. Almost all got it in Japanese. And then myself and Jared Newman ended up matching on a Japanese principle called ikigai, which means your reason to be. So he got his on his back, I got mine on my bicep, and it's kind of the coolest form of souvenir you can have. It's a permanent one.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's one
that's
that you'll look
awesome.
at and you'll always have that memory attached to it. That's so
Exactly.
pure. That's so special.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyways, that is such a great experience to hear more about. I'm so glad you mentioned that because that totally slipped my mind and I wanted to hear more about it. But one thing I did want to ask you when you're talking about the gap years, how did you prepare when you came back to play? Like, what did that look like mentally, physically, emotionally, workouts? What did that look like?
Yeah, I think the one thing I kept up throughout the year was the physicality side. Like, I love lifting, I love working out. I was coaching hockey, so I was chasing little kids around doing free cardio all the time. So that was the less difficult part. It was kind of fine tuning the reaction time. And I think it also allowed me to kind of reinvent myself as a goalie a little bit. Like, I had been seeing a lot of things professionally, collegiately, wanting to try something different. So I was able to then come to practice, see shots earlier with girls before we even got to that time, and just dial it in, and also realize that we've played a lot of lacrosse. Like, all three of us have done that. If you took a year off, it would still be the same. Like, you know what you're doing, and then when you get in a flow with the team, it kind of just comes back.
Yeah, that
Awesome.
makes a
That's
lot of
really cool.
sense.
That would be so, I feel like as a goalie, that's so impressive. Oh my God.
It worked out better than I expected it to. But it's been a lot.
Clearly, you're doing phenomenal. So it's like whatever you did definitely worked. To kind of change the pace a little bit here. So you guys have recently just faced Northwestern. Was that a difficult kind of game to go into, or what was your mindset like kind of heading into that game? Just because it is your alma mater, basically.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, that's
Yeah.
really the biggest way to describe it. Like, I kind of joked with Tim, there's no goalie that's played more games in that facility than I have. Like, that is a place I'm very, that is a place that I know the lighting, like silly things like that. And it's a place I have a lot of respect for, and I have a lot of friends still playing there. And I obviously know the staff very intimately, so it was loaded in a lot of ways. With the way things had ended there, I didn't know if I'd ever go back. And I told Tim, I told Coach McCormick that I don't think I would have gone back if it wasn't for him bringing me there and letting me do it as a Bluejay. And so I didn't stop smiling. It was an incredibly like gratitude-filled experience to a place that meant so much to me and still does. And then to be there with a new group that means just as much. It was just a really cool full circle moment. Yeah, obviously you want to come out with the win, but I think with the emotions of the day, I'm so grateful for how my teammates supported me, and it was cool to be back in Chicago.
Wow, that's awesome. Well said.
Thanks,
Yeah, I
guys.
feel like that's kind of a part of, maybe like the transfer portal or that doesn't really get talked about enough because, we've had from Syracuse at least the experience of having players transfer then seeing them again. And it's such like a bittersweet thing because it's like, oh, I wish you were still here, but it's so great to see you happy somewhere else, that type of thing. So I think that's a really great way that you put it with gratitude and full circle. So that's really cool that you had that opportunity, and I'm glad that you were able to enjoy it. That's really cool.
All right, so enough about lacrosse for a little bit. But what were you studying at Northwestern? What are you studying now at Hopkins, grad program? What is your plan or what do you want to do?
Yeah, so I got my undergraduate engineering degree from Northwestern in what was called Integrated Engineering Studies. So I chose my own adventure. I made up a major called Anatomically Applied Engineering Design. Was a bit of a nerd, and then I actually had done about 2/3 of a master's at Northwestern. So if those advisors ask, I'm still on leave of absence. Could go back, jury's still out. So I got my Northwestern undergrad in engineering, 2/3 of a master's, and then I came to Hopkins and I'm getting a dual major, master's in getting my MBA, and then a master's in design leadership through the Maryland Institute College of Art. There's a lot of words there. Sorry about that.
Those were big
Well,
words. Not a lot, they were big words.
Yeah.
that is incredible. So what are you gonna? Well, I read in like a U.S. lacrosse article that you worked last year Like
Yeah.
for something engineer, if you want to talk about that a little bit, what that experience was like.
Yeah, so I worked as a design engineer at a med device company. So I made patient-specific craniomaxillofacial implants, which is that's your
For, like
big
your
word, right?
eyes.
Yeah, so any like facial surgery, so your jaw, your upper jaw, lower jaw, like on a front face. So I got to make patient-specific plates and guides for surgeries within a zero point 0.1 millimeter tolerance of your specific CT scan, which was super cool, incredibly rewarding. Just something I didn't expect to ever stumble upon, but it was a fantastic job.
Talk about student athletes killing it
Putting
in
the
the
student in
classroom
student
and
athlete.
on the field. Holy crap.
Wait, so
I
how
don't
did
know
you
what you
get
just said.
how did you get like involved with that? Did you just like randomly did you know somebody? Like how did you stumble across a
Such
cranio like
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to go into prosthetics, and I still do. I didn't expect to go into facial prosthetics for a year. I had been, when I moved to Jacksonville, I was finishing up a data analytics internship. I had some time. I was trying to find things. I started coaching hockey to fill the gap. And then I was looking on LinkedIn, and I got lucky. And the apartment I was living in was 3 minutes from this building. And I stumbled upon them, and kind of the rest was history. It was a fantastic job, great people, and just, I mean, whatever I designed was within someone's face within 2 weeks. Like, that's crazy. And so it's
That's
really cool to
insane.
think about,
changing
like,
lives out here, seriously. Wow.
I mean, I hope they all went well. I hope nothing got called back, but in theory, everything went
We'll keep our fingers crossed with that one. I'm sure it was fine though.
well. No negative paperwork has come my way, so I think we're in a good spot.
That's
Um,
funny.
so you talk about hockey a bunch so far, and I remember you did play and like you coach now or you did coach before. So if you could play another sport that wasn't lacrosse and your body was feeling great, would it be ice hockey?
Absolutely. There were jokes early in my college career about, not even jokes, somewhat legitimate plans about taking a fifth in a different sport and going back to hockey. COVID obviously changed that landscape dramatically. But I mean, there's been people to do it. You've seen it at Cuse. Like, people will go back to hockey. I thought about it. The body wasn't necessarily ready for that much contact, but I did enjoy watching the other day. Watch some friends win the national championship. So it's still in my thoughts.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
is
What position
awesome.
did you play?
I was a center, so got to score some goals. I can't just try to keep them all out of a net.
Yeah, opposite ends of the,
So,
I guess, field or ice there.
Whatever.
so interesting how you go from like one sport being a goalie and then the other one you're scoring a goal. Like, so diverse.
It's a
So
mindset
impressive.
flip for sure, but it also, I
Oh,
think it
it's
was kind
gotta
of
be.
necessary. I think I would have burned out if I had to have like goalie mentality every single day.
For sure.
That'd be a lot of stress, I feel like, also.
That's a good point.
Hockey goalies
Definitely.
also like such a tighter margin. Like, you need a
Yeah.
96% save percentage, or you're not having a good time.
Oof. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. So with coaching, what do you coach? Do you still coach ice hockey, or is it more of just something you were doing in like pastime?
I'm looking to get back into it out here. Obviously, you guys know the graduate student athlete schedule isn't exactly the most forgiving. But I had a
Yes.
blast. We started a girls program down in Jacksonville. I was coaching like the little kids, and then we got a girls program up and running. So it's been cool to watch from afar and watch those girls. Shout out the Lunas. They've been crushing it. So seeing all that grow, even though I'm not directly involved right now.
Yeah, no, but you still started a program that didn't exist before, and potentially changed the trajectory of where some girls are going to go to college, or if they even want to pursue it like that. So giving them that opportunity is so cool. Look at you, just changing lives left and right. It's ridiculous.
I'm getting hit with lacrosse balls on occasion as well.
Yeah. No, literally.
All right, now that you're in Baltimore, you're settled. What is your favorite place to grab food in Baltimore?
Oof. All right, shout out Coach Nicole Graziano, Eki Ben, myself, and my teammate Casey Riggs. We are faithful Eki Ben fans. It's like this little Korean spot. I believe it's Korean. Apologies if I get that wrong. But fantastic, like fried chicken sandwich on bao, like insane. It's so
Yum.
good. Guys, come visit.
Stop it.
Come
That
visit.
sounds
It's like
phenomenal.
a hamburger bun, but it's a bao, and you've got
It's a
like
bao
fried
bun.
chicken with like pickles and aioli and cilantro. It's fantastic.
Dang, that sounds so good.
That
Yeah.
actually sounds unbelievable.
Roz and I, Roz put us onto it early. Our staff is obsessed. but the joke is that you can't eat it inside because you'll smell like ekiben for like a week. There are worse things, but like our coach's wife doesn't love it, so he has to use ekiben outside.
It just sticks with you. I feel Meg feels like that about about burgers. She like won't. It's like a bagel place. She like
Bagel place, Starbucks, and Chipotle. I hate
Chipotle
going in
is
there
true.
because my clothes, like even Starbucks, it's a coffee shop, but something about it smells like I can't go in there. I hate staying in there.
Only mobile delivery. No mobile
Yes.
ordering, just delivery.
Strictly. Or Meg's going to get it for me.
Yeah, I don't mind walking into any of those places. I actually enjoy walking into Chipotle because I think it smells good. And actually, their chicken al pastor is back. If anyone's interested, it's unbelievable.
So
It's so
Really?
good. Yeah,
Hmm.
I actually had it today, ironically. But anywho, I love that question. I love hearing about different food places.
What was I have another food question that I wanted to ask earlier. What was your favorite meal you had in Japan?
Ooh, it's like picking a favorite kid. It just feels wrong. I think every day at the hotel there was this breakfast that was like rice with this yuzu like citrusy sauce and steak, and you didn't expect it to be a breakfast, but it was fantastic. And then there was also a time where I think it was myself, I think it was Lizzie Colson and Sammy Joe Tracy, if I remember the squad correctly. We stumbled into a random restaurant while walking back and had the best like tofu and like dan dan noodles of my life, and I could never find that place again. I don't know where it was. Never go back. It made Lizzie's food vlog, so you can find it as best you can. But it was.
Yeah.
Go searching for it.
If you find it, please send me the link because I literally I don't even know what city I was in.
That's funny. I love the food question. I'm such a foodie, so I love knowing people's like go-to or favorite food. What's your go-to meal before a game?
Depends. We've had so many weird weekday games lately. I'm confused.
Yeah, that's true.
We're a big Towson Hot Bagels catering, so I end up with
so good.
cheese, pepper jack cheese, everything bagel, avocado, solid.
Towson Hot Bagel is unreal.
The classic. Yeah.
Awesome.
So with your game day meals, just to bring it back to lacrosse, this actually has nothing to do with the meals. So you've been to multiple Final Fours, and not a lot of people get to say that they did that. What was your kind of experience like through those two Final Fours, getting there? What are you doing throughout your days? I'm sure, you're watching film and all that stuff, but if you could like walk us through what your experience was like for maybe, let's do like the day before a game, the day before.
I think it changed a lot. Like my freshman year, it was not even remotely similar to pre-COVID. So like it was a whole different atmosphere. There was a banquet. There was a lot of pomp and circumstance. And then you guys have obviously been there as well. Y'all knocked us out of it junior year. But it's a little different like later on. I think the biggest thing is just like getting there and feeling those emotions early, like getting to the field, getting to the venue. You see more signage, you see more media. You have teammates being pulled in and out, recognizing that like it's another game, but also acknowledging the fact that it is special. You are in a really unique place that you earn. So balancing the you earn this, you're here with the okay, you also have a job to do. So that was a huge part of it. Also, by the time I was a junior, I had been lucky enough to already have been there once. So it's kind of a cool thing. My thing to focus was just checking on the younger guys. Like their eyes are crazy big. They don't know what's going on. There's a lot going on. So just, it's scout, but it's also let's enjoy this moment. Let's see it. Okay, let's also go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like important that you mentioned the like looking out for maybe like the younger guys, like your freshmen, sophomores, because they're all excited and obviously you're excited too. And to have that experience so young and be able to be a leader for them in that moment and, kind of maybe ground them a little bit to make sure like they understand like this is really cool, but hey, we've got stuff to do to get to the next stage. I think that's a really important factor. And like, that's why teams can be successful because you have those leadership qualities like that. So I think that's really fantastic of you that you did.
Thank you.
I would second that as well.
Also with the game, are you a superstitious person? Do you do things specifically before games? What do you do?
I mean, I'm a goalie. So like,
I was just about to say I didn't want to like offend you, but I was like,
you can stereotype.
there's got to be something.
I think I'm not superstitious, but I'm like routine oriented. Like I'm not gonna
Okay.
freak out if something's out of line, but I do have like an order of events that I follow to just like control the few things on a game day that I can control.
What are
No,
some of those, if
exactly.
you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously treatment, guys. You know the life.
Yeah.
So
Of
treatment
course,
always.
of course.
It kind of depends on the day. Sometimes I want my stick in my hand. Sometimes I want to throw the ball at a wall. I've kind of been listening to the same like vibe of music or even the same album. And there's a book I always read before the game. I just scan some random passages that I've been reading, Meg, since we were in Peterborough, Ontario, 2019.
Really?
Yeah, so I've had that since then. I can't be one getting up and dancing. Like I need to chill. I need to just kind of let it come to me. So I read some excerpts, headphones on, and then once the coaches come in, we can get fired up. I can dance around for a little bit, and then goalies go out so early that it's a nice little flow of just slowly amping up the energy.
Love that.
Yeah, having a routine definitely helps. Keeps everything in check,
Yeah.
mentally and physically.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely would be bothered if like my routine of events got sort of switched up or didn't happen.
That's why I try to make mine kind of soft. Like it can all happen within like a 5 to 10 minute window because who knows when the bus is going to get to the away game? Who knows what the locker room's going to look like? Like, am I jammed in a hallway because there was only 3 chairs? Like, you never know. You gotta
That
go.
was always the worry going somewhere and being like, am I going to have a place to sit or am I going to be like laying down in the hallway getting treatment?
No, I'm last off the bus. I'm back row, so I am on the floor. I've only been on the floor. I don't think I've seen a chair this year, and that's okay.
That's okay. Well, Northwestern, when we would play there, we'd have like 2 locker rooms. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Wait, guys, I hadn't experienced that until last week.
Oh my
I
gosh,
didn't know what
yeah.
the locker rooms looked like. I was so excited.
Oh my gosh, that's
No,
so true.
So split up and
Yeah.
like it's like a 2 L's
It's 2
basically and then
Ls.
like a wall. It was just it's honestly though it's nice in there. Like it's a nice locker room.
Yeah.
I just wish it was
Spacious.
It's nice, but like
Yeah.
there's nowhere to meet as a team. The coaches
Yeah.
come in and awkwardly stand at a corner. Like it doesn't make
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, so true.
I didn't
No
even
one knows
think
what
about
to
that. No, seriously. Nice locker room, but it's really hard to gather and put 30 girls in there and make sure everyone's listening.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Kayla would always be like, where do we go?
We
It's
were
so
sitting
it's so
on top
awkward.
of each other. Like people were sitting on the sinks behind the coaches. Like it was all out of whack.
Yeah.
You got to make it work somehow.
All right, so you're playing at Hopkins, you played at Northwestern. Besides those 2, where is your favorite place to play?
Ooh, interesting question. Well, see, I can't say the Dome, guys, because I never got to play. I was a freshman spectating my little hangout.
Oh,
It's okay. But
spectating my little heart out. That's hysterical.
I've yet to play in the Dome. I mean, I love playing at Northwestern, home or away, so that's kind of a biased answer. I really like playing at Michigan. I've only played there once, and I think it was in the snow, and it was just a cool vibe, and it was just, I mean, that's always a good game. It's always been in conference for me, so I had a blast in Michigan. I grew up playing hockey in Ann Arbor, so going there and actually competing on a collegiate field was a pretty cool experience.
That's cool.
No,
Yeah,
and Michigan's campus is beautiful. Like when I was getting recruited, that was the first school that like wanted to talk to me, and I went there and I was like, wow, I could see myself here. But it just didn't work out like that. But it is so nice. And like the school camaraderie is like for student athletes for like football and like all their sports. Their field hockey game was like I remember I went and it was sold out and like people were lined up on the fences. It was a really cool environment, so I can see that. We never played there, I don't think actually.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you been? If I didn't know you went on a visit there.
Yeah, no,
I
went
have
on a visit
no
there.
idea what it looks like. I have no idea what Michigan looks like. But can imagine the school spirit there and like the vibe is probably awesome. Just throughout all the sports.
So to wrap this up, we've got a lot of season left. Really excited for those of you who are interested in watching Hopkins and Madison. They are taking on JMU up next. That'll be a really, really exciting game. That'll be a really good game. I'm excited to watch it. I'm sure Madison, you're excited to play in it. So look forward to that. But looking ahead towards your future, not to skip over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, but what do you see yourself doing after you are a student athlete when you graduate?
Isn't that the question my therapist has been
Isn't that
asking
the
me?
question?
Always the question. I'm kind of up in the air right now. I worked in obviously facial prosthetics. I would love to go back into the medical device space. Prosthetics, sports specific prosthetics. If anyone's hiring, hit me up. I think short term, I have one more year of my master's program. So I've considered staying adjacent to the game, whether that's on the Hopkins staff or somewhere else in Baltimore, just staying close, especially with box lacrosse going on. So I've got a little year of kind of baby steps, weaning myself away from the game, if that's the direction it goes employment wise. But I'm kind of open minded, hoping to use the engineering and the business degrees and figure something out, try to make the world a better place. Who knows?
Yeah, I would recommend those baby steps. Don't go cold turkey. It's not fun.
I don't think I could. I weaned off of it for a year and look where I ended up. So I don't think I can really. Lacrosse isn't going away. I'm not going away from lacrosse. So it's just a matter of what role it's going to play. If I get lucky enough to play professionally, continue on with the national team, whatever that may mean, and have a big kid job while doing it, probably.
And I'm sure you will. I actually have no doubts about that. So make sure that if you guys are listening, you stay tuned, follow Madison. She's seriously one of the brightest players in the NCAA right now. And there's a lot of exciting lacrosse left for her in Hopkins. So best of luck in your upcoming game. And thank you so much for joining us on The Meg Show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.